It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Okay, here's a really interesting one to start, and it's so pertinent right now. This one is from Matt, and this is a YouTube question. Matt said, Brian, I'm about to start investing in a taxable account. Should I use a Robo advisor to automate tax loss harvesting instead of buying and selling similar index funds in a brokerage? So this is what his question. He's about to start his very first taxable account. So let's assume he's starting at zero. Should I'm gonna frame this question a little bit. Should I be thinking about loss harvesting? And then if I am, should I be like using a robo advisor, or should I, if I have an opportunity to do it myself, how might I think about that? And what might be some pros and cons of each as someone who's done a bunch of tax returns throughout the course of your career?
Yeah, remember I said I don't want everybody chasing complexity, especially when you're in the foundational stage of really focusing on the behavior of saving 25% of your income. And that's why we always talk about the index target retirement funds. I think Robos, look, I'm not against Robos. It's just, but I feel like Robos, here's something I've noticed. I used to get upset. There's certain custodians that when you've graduated to the point that you want to go something more custom and come to a financial advisor, I think it's very interesting to judge custodians based upon how hard they are to move assets. Like I don't think Vanguard gives you a hard time. I don't think Schwab or Fidelity give you a hard time if you're moving money in and out of those accounts. But there are certain life insurance companies from 401ks and other things that give you a hard time. And look, I hate to put them in this column, but we have seen it, and I'm not going to give their name to keep us from getting in trouble with them. But there are some robo-advisors, they don't like to let go of the money. They do not want you to graduate beyond what they do.
Our administrative team get up in a
administrative team, and they'll be like, they're horrible because they let you do this one form. I think it's called an ACAT form to transfer the money in. They'll let you use ACATs to transfer the money into them, but they make you do something completely manual and outside of that system to get the money out. That's not good faith. I mean, that is why do you, I don't like anybody that doesn't allow you to vote with your feet. Clients of ours, we tell you when you look at our contract, everything you do with us, you can cancel within 30 days. You just let us know. The only way we keep you as a client is we keep you happy as a client. And it frustrates me when people create in their business model friction or problems that the stickiness is because of these penalties that they put in place and obstacles versus how good their service is. Do better, robo-advisors, because that speaks volumes about what you think about your business when you have to put in obstacles to getting the money out. So that's a little bit of a soapbox moment. Gosh, I got so worked up about that. I want to make sure I'm not messing out on anything else Matt's thinking about.
Can I throw one thing in there? And I learned this from you. I learned so many things from you. This is early on in my career. You have done tax, and I don't think it was robo-advisors, but you had services, or you had tax clients who did services where they would have 1,000 transactions throughout the course of a year, right? So when I hear automated loss harvesting, I hear like drops, and I clip $10 here and $12 here and $10 here and $100 there. I begin to wonder, like, okay, yeah, I can academically get my head wrapped around the value in that, but perhaps there's a threshold. Perhaps there's some materiality that ought to come into it. So if you're a young person starting out, man, is that $100 loss harvest really worth it? Or might it make sense to let those dollars build up a little bit more? And when you do loss harvesting, it's actually material loss harvesting. That's one of the things I worry about with automated. I'm pretty sure if I saw a 1099 for one of these things, it would just be like pages and pages and pages and pages and pages, which may not be a valuable thing.
It is true. No, I was coming of age, doing tax planning when people thought they were day traders, and you would just have. At least now you can upload the transactions into the software. Back then, you'd have to manually input those transactions, and everybody would be like, why did my tax bill go up $400 this year? Because, hey, when you day trade and have all these, it is the same thing. So loss harvesting is very important in the process, but it's also materiality side too, because we've even talked to this with some of our primary advisors, is that, a few $100 transaction might be, losing the plot a little bit. You want to make sure this is a value add. And then look, there's nothing wrong. I will tell you, I've been loss harvesting for our clients, but also even for my own personal accounts. And this, by the way, the volatility is not going away. So 31, 32 days in the future, we're looking at the accounts again because it's big enough. Now, this is also back to that. Is the account big enough that it's creating enough to where it's warranted to do this? If you have a $10,000 account, it's probably not going to do the same thing that a $400,000 account's going to do. So pay attention to those variables.